Okay, it is Wednesday afternoon. We're at Animal Care Hospital in Long Beach. I'd like to thank Dr. Stubbs for cleaning off her desk enough for me to put some frogs on there. Um, Toads more specifically. Here we have Bufo Marina, also known as the marine toad or the cane toad. I got quite familiar with these guys when I was in St. Kitts. They were like up in the mountains and down low, so they're really kind of cool. And I do like them as far as toads go. Unfortunately, they are an invasive species here in the U.S. and other places, so we do our best to make sure they stay in their enclosures. Anyway, these guys were turned over to me. Basically, they're turned over. They've been off food, and the family that had them really couldn't afford to fix them or find out what was wrong. So they contacted me through the internet and asked if I could actually help them with the situation. So that's what we're going to do today. I've brought 2 small containers. We have to figure out if they've got any problems, and the best way to know who's got what or if there's any differences between them is to separate them in separate containers and then monitor their stool and see how they do separately. So I have not even pulled them out and played with them yet. I have gloves on. Ordinarily, I have matching tops and bottoms when it comes to scrubs and stuff, so I'm not the best at matching things. But to be totally honest, this is the last of their gloves, my exam gloves, and I pulled these out of the Jeep because I happen to have some extra. So anyway, they don't match. Laugh at me later if you will. All right, here we go. Here comes the reveal. And there's nothing in that one. Drop that there. And there's 2 in there. Alright. They say these guys have already been sexed. Chances are that's the male and that's the female. And they really do look kind of thin. So with that in mind, they have been eating well until very recently. So we're going to figure out what's going on. Hey, I know. Come on. I know. Come on. The parotid glands, it's kind of hard to point. That is a parotid gland right there. They're actually supposed to produce the toxin that makes these guys so so adaptive in nature. When dogs, cats, or other animals try to eat them, a gland right there produces a certain toxin that is actually, quite toxic and can kill you. If you're highly sensitive. Anyway, so that's why I'm wearing the gloves. Well, mainly for their protection. But anyway, I'm going to put this guy here. Oh, in this container for a few. No, stay right there. Don't move yet. Okay, I got to put this down. He's getting crazy. Look at these cages. These cages are awesome. I have had these things for 20 years. Yeah, plastic lasts that long. Anyway, these were some kind of a toy, like veterinary kit that you got, well after I was playing with toys. But anyway, when I went to one of the local thrift shops, they had a bunch of these that were left behind. So I grabbed them. I've used them for tortoise transport and things like that, and they're really cool. At the top that pulls out right there. This piece pops down. For the most part, most animals are stuck in here, but I've had a few tortoises be able to knock those things open. Anyway. What's so cool about them today is there is a cane toad in there. There's one. Okay, and as we back out, go into the next one. And there is the next one. And this guy's like looking around like, dude, what is happening out there? So these 2 were dropped off. And I think I'm adopting them as of this point in time to decide what's going on. They are both thin compared to the healthy toads I have seen in the past. I love amphibian medicine. It's always kind of cool. They're one of the few creatures that I can actually make drenches and stuff for to treat them for antibiotics or not so much antifungals, but it can be done as well. So because their skin is so absorptive, they don't even necessarily have to drink. They can just sit in it, and there's a patch in the average amphibian, especially frogs and toads, that can actually absorb water through their skin. And the same thing can go with their drugs if we need to. So anyway, one's in there, and that's where they're going to stay until they each give me a fecal sample, or I can decide what to do with their treatment. Chances are they've never been seen by a veterinarian, so they're going to have parasites. The question is exactly what parasites do we have and what should our treatment be? So this is day one, and we'll check it. We'll see. These guys are actually pretty cool. All right, of the two, this is the healthier looking one. They did say they had a male and female, but we usually end up telling by their size. But because they're both so thin, it's difficult to know exactly which one's which. But if I were to guess, this is the healthier looking one, and he's the smaller one, so this is probably your male. Nice big parotid gland. Just think toads are awesome. Good news is the eye looks clear. Dude, you just have to poop, and then I'll put you back in a bigger tank. I don't see any poop yet. Nope, no poopus. Now on to the next one. You can actually see her dorsal ridge line along the spine. This one is much thinner and actually larger. So this is probably going to be the female, but we're going to figure out what's wrong with her, and she'll be gaining weight real soon. All right. Okay, for you soon-to-be exotic veterinarians out there, one of the coolest things that I've seen in a long time was we had a hard time getting a fecal sample from what was that damn thing? Amphibia. Okay, and they had it in rather dry enclosure, and then we couldn't separate it out to get the fecal sample. So what we ended up doing was we actually took the bedding itself, and we did what's called a wash. So what I've done here is this is the bedding as it looked when it first came in. It's a little bit overly moist, but I've actually made it more moist. I took that glass, filled it up with water, poured it in over here. It's going to rinse down, and it's going to make this small little pond over here. So I'm just going to stick this in, suck up a small sample, and then I'll go put this under the microscope and see what kind of parasites or problems are in here, and still wait to see what the frogs tell us as far as that goes. But in the meantime, I've got something I can work with, which is probably why this exotic house call thing works, because a lot of times I can actually take a sample from the tank itself and get what I need from there as far as fixing it goes. So all right, let's put this under the microscope. Okay, here is our sample from the turtle bedding, frog bedding. Wow, do I need help? If you notice there at about the 6 o'clock position, there's actually some yeast. That's what they call a Oh, hold on, let me see this to focus a little bit better. Oh, I ran away. Come back here. It's called a polymorphic type yeast, because if you're looking real close, you can actually see where the 2 big buds there, right at about the 5:30. And of course, you're looking at the 6 and 6:30 to 7. You can actually see a small line of those. So all those are connected to the same hyphae. So maybe we might be looking at a fungal infection in these guys. As most of you may already know, turns out that amphibians are very sensitive to chytrid and other types of fungi. So anyway, there's our first sample. And I also saw a worm in here, but we'll figure it out in a second. All right, it is day 2 of our frog stay here at the hospital. Turn it over, and we just finally got a fecal sample from the male, or the assumed male. And as you can see, there is a live strongyle in the stool. It's one of the things that we can actually treat. And we will do some more diagnosing here, or check more of this fecal, but I want to make sure I got that on video before it was too late. I forgot to mention the last sample that this is a direct, and this is 400 times magnification. And you can actually see another strongyle there between the center screen and about 3 o'clock position. All right, seen a lot of these. And looking right there, there's another strongyle. And it looks like a different species or a different size. So, okay, earlier I said that was 400 times magnification, and it really wasn't, so I apologize for that. But this one is at 400 times magnification, and there's a whole nother, much smaller species of strongyle right there that you're seeing moving around in this field. There's that same small strongyle at about 200 times magnification, and it's hard for you to see here, but at the 6 o'clock position, there's actually one of the original strongyles. I'm going to try to move this where you can see both. can see right there the tail end of another different species of strongyle. You don't get to see that every day. Looking here, you can actually see right there at about the 3 o'clock position a pinworm type of egg. You can actually see the strongyle in the egg case moving around. I'm probably bring that central a little bit. And right there at about the 6:30, 7 o'clock position, you can actually see an oxyurid egg. So there's 2 different species of strongyle right there. But that is awesome, watching the baby moving the egg. Okay, let me see if I can get closer. Alright, that is 400 times magnification, and that is of the actual strongyle in the egg case still. You can see it moving around. That's cool. Might get to see one hatch right in front of our eyes. We'll see. I don't know how much time I got to sit here on this microscope, but if I was a frog and that was in my intestine, I'd be freaking the hell out. What is in my belly? Get out of my belly.
That's cool. You can actually see the egg case. The head right at about 5 o'clock position. Just trying to get out. Let me out. Let me out. That's just cool. Got a patient the next one wants to check on, so we want to watch this guy hatch. So bye-bye, little worm. Bye-bye. Wave. There you go. Thank you. 2 minutes of worm.
To explain what's going on, we have a cane toad in there and a cane toad in there. There's some medication for each. We just finished doing a fecal. We found out that we have an overdose or an overabundance of strongyles in these guys. So we're going to go ahead and get them medicated. This is going to be the new tank for now. We want something absorptive in the bottom. We want, since they're going to have some diarrhea from the parasites that are going to be abandoning ship, we want to make sure they stay hydrated. So this is what their tank's going to look like for a bit. Chances are, while these worms start to abandon ship, it is going to cause some loose stools. Ordinarily, when I handle amphibians, I do try to glove up. So I don't have to use gloves that have any talcum powder on them, simply because there are bacteria and issues on my skin that could actually cause them problems. And then, of course, looking at cane toads, and cane toads have their own little parotid glands and toxic issues as well. So, with that in mind, we are wearing gloves to protect us all. All right, round 1, frogs, Dr. 0. Alright, so I pulled out my trusty exotic speculum. I have gone and trimmed off these to a little bit sharper so into the lip of the frogs. And we're going to go in and try this again. Alright, little buddy. I know. We're gonna fix you. You're gonna be better. Come on, open up. I know, this is rude. All right. Doctor, a win for the doctor. Now it's time for the second one. Well, you guys are going to be so cool when you're healthier. Say, yuck! That's just nasty. All right, soak it up.